Elvis Costello is a British singer-songwriter who started in 1970 and is still going. He came to popularity in the late 70s, and at that time he was generally considered to be new wave. However, in retrospect, looking back, it's probably more reasonable to think of him as a medium rock singer-songwriter. He's had a sometimes consistent band called The Attractions. Some of his albums are credited as Elvis Costello and The Attractions. Some of the albums where he used the band The Attractions were just credited to himself as Elvis Costello, and on some albums he used different musicians. His first studio album was released in 1977, and he's had 26 since then and is still going. He's had a lot of commercial and critical success, especially for his earlier albums, and is widely respected for his songwriting ability. Hi, my name's Dan. So this was the eighth studio album by Elvis Costello, and is my second time reviewing it actually. A while back, before I started doing these video reviews, I was doing reviews for a blog that I had, which had a readership of about 5. I enjoyed it, but various things changed, and I decided to go for a different list and go video. So I reviewed this about 3 years ago. So I had some memory of listening to this for that review. I did check out the review, but I did listen to it first. I try not to bias myself from my previous reviews when I come across this. It does happen occasionally. So let's do some description. I would describe this as being pop rock. Um, Elvis Costello at times is labelled as new wave, and I think the distinction is a little bit kind of slim here. But I don't really think of this as being new wave. It's not quite so punchy as that, but it's verging at times on sophisti-pop or art pop. It's the thing about it is it's kind of weird because musically it's quite like, or musically and in the production, it's quite like what was called pub rock, which is like Nick Lowe and Dave Edmunds and other British bands that were centred, British artists that were centred around London in the late 70s into the early 80s. And I understand he was kind of part of that collective of people at times. But it's not quite so straightforward musically. It's got more interesting stuff going on. Particularly kind of chords wise, it's got some interesting chord sequences. Maybe the best description would be kind of singer-songwriter, but that's a really catch-all way of doing things. It's definitely very much focused on the songs here. So most of it's fairly poppy. There's a band, there's the addition of keyboards, mostly piano, but most of that is embellishment rather than kind of the underpinning not bassist, like you would get with, say, Elton John. And then quite a lot of it's got brass in it, which is a bit more unusual. So it gives it a little bit of a Dexys Midnight Runners feel at times. And I think that this feel is enhanced somewhat by the cover art, which he seems to be trying to look like somebody from Dexys in the photo on the front. But, it's my opinion. So, as I said, the focus here is on the songwriting, its stories, its characters, and then within that, there's clever wordage and expressions and good rhymes. At times, it's self-deprecating, like the song "Mouth Almighty," which is about him opening his mouth and putting his foot in it. And it's very crafted and rich in content. It's the kind of album that makes me feel like it's a box of chocolates. Each one's different, and each one's kind of got that kind of sparkly shininess to it of just being interesting. So music is good here. It's definitely still a content delivery mechanism, and it is about the songs rather than just about getting a particular sound of the music. But the sound and the music are still good. My favourite songs were Shipbuilding and Pills and Soap, which I think is about encouraging people to boil down the aristocracy, but don't quote me on that. Yeah, these two are slower and more unusual production compared with the rest of the album. That may be why I like them particularly, because they stood out. Um, uh, Measuring this against other stuff that was around at the same time in the same kind of um, area or kind of genre. Yeah, not too keen on that word there. It's definitely a strong album for him. Well, I feel fairly sure that there will be Elvis Costello fans who would not claim this as one of the best of his albums, and there's quite a few more of his that are higher in this list. So we'll see what I think when we come to them. But I did enjoy this album. It was a nice listen. So that's what I think. Please let me know what you think, and that's it from me for now.
They talk to the sister, the father and the mother, with a microphone in one hand and a checkbook in the other. And the camera noses into the tears on her face, the tears on her face, the tears on her face. You can put them back together with your paper and paste, but you